Welcome back, students. So in the last class, if you remember, we defined few important notation. One is dual space, and second one is inner product. In linear vector space, this dual space and inner product both are very important concept. If you remember, if two vectors, say alpha and beta, are given in a vector space, this is a elements of a vector space, then the inner product is defined by, say, alpha beta. Sometimes the notation is also written as alpha beta in some places, but essentially these two are the same things. This thing can be represented in tuple notation also, where I can write alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n, beta 1, beta 2, beta n, when alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n are the components of the vector alpha, and beta 1, beta 2, beta n are the components of the vector beta. This is nothing but this quantity, alpha I star, beta I tends to 1 to n, if the vectors has a dimension, or the space, the vector space has a dimension of n. This is known, I mean this is not a new thing. So now if this inner product follows few properties, for example, if I write this, say alpha beta is equal to beta alpha star, which we have already proved this in our previous class. Next thing is that alpha alpha, if I take the inner product of the two same vector, then we essentially call it as the norm square, like this. This quantity is always greater than equal to 0. Third, if this quantity is 0, then the vector alpha must be 0, or it is a null vector. And finally, if I write where A and B are two scalars, that is belongs to the field, so A and B are belongs to the field or real number here, then this kind of associated property can be followed by these vectors under this inner product formation. Then if these four properties satisfied, not necessarily in any vector space, this if I can define a inner product, and I can also define these four properties uniquely. If I able to do that, then we call this space as inner product space. So if these things are followed, then we call it as inner product space. So that means vector space is there. In vector space we have two vector alpha and beta. I also define for alpha beta, I also define inner product, which I did in my previous class. And now what I am trying to do is just try to find out these properties, and if these four properties are satisfied, then we call the vector is forming a space called inner product space. So inner product space in general, in normal vectors, they are forming inner product space. IJK, when I put the normal vectors in 2D and 3D, then they are forming the inner product space. If you find that all the 4 properties, they are valid there. So this is important to know that there is another kind of things called inner product space, which is based on the inner product definition, and it follows that these 4 properties are obeyed by these things in spinner's inner product space. The next very important thing I like to mention is, suppose a vector is given, a set of vector is given like x1, x2, xn. These are the set of vectors that is given, and also I mentioned that they are linearly independent. So the problem is, a set of vectors is given to me, and also it is given that these vectors are linearly independent to each other. That means if I have an expression, let me remind once again, if I have an expression like this, the only solution for that is Ci's are 0. It essentially means that these vectors are linearly independent. But the question is different. The question is different. I want to form from that, I want to form another set of vectors, say y1, y2, yn, which are orthonormal to each other. In last day's class also I defined something, orthonormality. Orthonormality means if a vector say e1 and e2, when I am saying these 2 vectors are orthonormal, that essentially means that ei, ej, I can put any value as I and j, 1 or 2, is equal to delta ij. So when I put same I, that means e1, e2 or e1, e1, then it will give 1. If I put e2, e2, it will give 1. But if I put e1, e2 or e2, e1, it will give 0. That means e1 and e2 are normal to each other. Not only that, their norm is 1. So that is called orthonormal or orthonormality. Now orthonormal basis, these are forming a basis, because we know that a set of linearly independent vector always can form a basis, is very important. Orthonormal basis gives you very important ideas, or say any vector, if I want to expand in an orthonormal basis like this, if e1, e2, en are orthonormal, we can have very important information from this. For example, if I want to find out any of the element, say x2, if I make this quantity, say e2, this quantity, if I make a projection over e2 from this side, then all the term will going to vanish except this one. So I will have x2 straightway. So the component of the vector can readily be figure out if I use orthonormal basis. So orthonormal basis is very important. I will come to this point again. So the question is, if a set of linearly independent vector is given, it is possible to find out the orthonormal set of vector from that. So that is the problem. So let us do the problem whether it is really possible or not. So that means x1, x2, xn is given, and I need to find out from that linearly independent, using this vector which are linearly independent, I going to find out a set of vector which are orthonormal to each other. This process, by the way, is called Gram-Schmidt process. Gram-Schmidt orthonormalization. This is called, this specific process called Gram-Schmidt orthonormalization. So let us start with that. So how do I choose my vectors y1, y2, y3 so that they are orthonormal to each other from this linearly set of independent vectors? So let me do that in this way. So first I choose y1 in the direction of x1 and divided that by the norm of this vector. So if I do that, then readily I find that y1 is a unit vector along the distance, along the direction x1, no problem with that. So right hand side is known, so I can automatically generate my y1. How to generate y2? I write y2 prime. Why I am writing y2 prime, I will explain shortly. I choose the vector like this. Please note that when I am forming y2, I am in the right hand side, I know what is my x2 because x2 is given here. I know what is my y1 because just before I form y1. What I don't know is alpha. Now this alpha is important because by putting this alpha in suitable way, I can find out my desired y2. How? Let me explain. So my idea is y2 and y1 should be orthogonal to each other. So if that is the case, this has to be 0, this quantity has to be 0, or in other way y1, y2 is 0. Both the cases the meaning is same. We are dealing with real vector for the time being. So now what I do, I will just say here I am using prime, so let me put the prime here, then I will explain why this prime is taken, you can understand readily. So if I now operate y1 from both the side, it will be y1 x2 plus alpha. Why it is alpha? Because now x1 y1 term will be coming here, which is the mod of y1 square, and here I find that mod of y1 square is 1. So from here I know that this quantity is 1. So if I do that, I will get this 1, so I am not going to. Now my demand is that alpha 2 will be such that this quantity is equal to 0, because I want y1 and y2 to be perpendicular to each other. From here readily I find my alpha, which is y1 x2. So what will be my final vector? What will be my final vector? My y2 prime vector is nothing but x2 minus the value of alpha, which is there, one should be minus sign because alpha plus this is equal to, so there will be a minus sign here. This. Now this expression I write in a slightly different way. So let me write that, then I will going to explain why I am writing these things. Let me write this slightly different way. So this is the vector. So if you look in the right hand side, you will find all the values are now known. X2 is given, y1 I have already generated, this quantity I can generate. So overall it is given a vector which is known, and this is my y2. Why now y2 prime is written here? Let me explain quickly. So this vector is not normalized. This vector is not, obviously this is not normalized. So in order to make it normalized, so I will write my y2, the original vector is y2 prime divided by norm of y2 prime. So if I divided the norm of this vector, then I will get another vector which is in the same direction, but this vector will be now with unit. So I will form y2 and this y2 is y2 prime divided by the norm of that. So, that means y2 is my unit vector. So, I can form y1, I can form y2, and my y2 is this form. So, let me write somewhere what the value I am getting. So, my y1 somewhere here I am getting like this, my y2 is 1 divided by y2 prime multiplied by this quantity, which is nothing but the y2 prime in the similar way. Let me find out y3, because I need to find out y1, y2, y3 up to yn. So, I am not going to stop here. So, let me find out y3. So, again in the same logic I will put y3, I will take x3 here plus beta is some constant, gamma is some real value or scalar constant, this. And my demand is, please note that when I am forming y3 prime, all the values here is known to me except the beta and gamma, which I will try to find out by using the orthonormality. So, the first thing is that if I say this quantity, I want that this has to be 0, in the right hand side what I am getting, this term will not be there because y1 and y2 are perpendicular. So, beta term will not be there. So, only I will have gamma y1 y1. Again y1 y1 is nothing but the unit vector. So, I will have this as 1. So, I will get this, which is 0. So, what will be my gamma? From here I will find that gamma is equal to minus of y1 x3. Also, if I do the same thing by operating y2 from the left hand side to y3 prime, because y2 and y3 are perpendicular to each other, I want that they should be perpendicular, then it is equal to 0, and it gives me, if I operate, this term will going to vanish. First term will be this, and the second term will be simply beta, because again y2 term will be coming here, which is 1, and this term will going to vanish. So, from here also I can find out my beta, which is this. So, I can construct my alpha, construct my gamma, construct my beta. Alpha I use in this case, here I put two new scalars, which is this, and I can also figure it out. So, now what I will do, I will find out what is my y3 finally, y3 prime. So, first y3 prime is x3, this one, then beta I figure out what, which is that, and gamma is this, also I calculate. This form. So, right hand side everything is known. This is a vector, this is a scalar, this is the inner product. So, it will give you a scalar quantity. This is a vector multiplied by a scalar quantity, no problem with that. So, overall they are giving a entire vector which are perpendicular. So, the final step in the previous way, y3, which has to be with unit norm, then I need to just divide whatever the y3 I am getting with the norm of that. If I do that, then whatever the vector I am getting is basically the unit vector. So, in the similar way I can write that this in the form I need to divide y prime, note that y3 prime. So, y3 prime, and then the entire thing I write again, I write a slightly different way. So, this is my total vector. So, if I do that for other say y4, y5 and yn, so the my final expression of yn should be something like this. We do not need to do all these things meticulously, we can understand how these things are working, then we can form our yn. So, yn prime will be something like xn. If I use in this way, then n minus 1, yn minus 1, x n minus 1 minus yn minus 2, yn minus 2. The order is reducing here, 2, 1, initially it was just 1, for y3 it is 2, 1, for 4 there will be another term, in this way it will change, and finally I will have this is my entire yn. So, now I can write this in a more convenient way in the summation form. So, if I do, then it will be just xn minus say summation of yi, I take it xi, I tends to 1 to n minus 1. This is a compact form. If you look, this is a compact form. So, these things which are changing, so I put this change in terms of I and I will get something like this. So, this is my okay. One thing I am doing some mistake here. So, both the cases it should be not n minus 1, it should be just n minus 1 should be this, n minus 1 should be this, because n minus 1 is this quantity and this is x3, this is x3 like this. So, here I should have like this. So, this is my complete expression, this is my complete expression. So, now once I have this complete expression in my hand, so let me write it yn once again, which is 1 divided by yn mod of that, which is this quantity mod of whatever I have, and then xn I have, and then sum over this quantity and this. This is my complete picture. So, please appreciate that y1, y2, yn I have generated by using x1, x2, x3 which are given to me. So, all the value x1, x2, x3 these are given to me. So, I know all the value, and then I use the value in such a way that I can generate y1, y2, yn in the form such that any thing they are forming this. So, they are forming a orthonormal set, y1, y2, y3 are the orthonormal set. So, I will come back to this point within a moment, why I am writing this in this form. So, before that let us use this formula to find out quickly how these things is working. So, let us do that quickly. So, let me put this here. For example, one example, say two vectors, say E1, say E1 prime, better to write it in normal notation xy because it will be easier. So, two vector say x1 which is say 1 0 and x2 which is 1 1 is given. These two vectors are given. So, now you can note that these two vectors are not orthonormal to each other. These two vectors are not orthonormal to each other. So, I need to find out two vectors y1 and y2 which are orthonormal to each other using these two. So, what will be my y1? Y1 will be straightforward according to my rule, it will be something like this, which is nothing but this vector. Straight away I can find out because this is a vector which has unit norm. So, I will find out, I will figure out a vector which is this. Second thing, y2. Y2, first I need to find out y2 prime. Y2 prime is x2 minus y1 x2 and then y1. Y1 I already find, this quantity I need to find, this quantity I need to find. So, this quantity I know. So, if I write, it will be 1 1. This quantity is the inner product of y1 and y2. Y1 I already figured. So, what will be this value? So, let me do that here. Y2 is 1 1. So, this give me simply 1 and this will be a scalar quantity. So, it will just give me one value 1, the inner product of these two. So, now it will be just 1 multiplied by y2 which is 1 0 this. So, it comes out to be simply 0, 1 minus 1 it is 0 and 1 minus 0 it is 1. So, 0 1. So, my y1 is this and my y2 is this, y2 prime is this and y2 is simply y2 prime divided by the mod of y2 according to my rule, but here mod of y2 is 1 automatically. So, I will have simply 0 1. So, now these two vectors I find, these two vectors is given which are linearly independent, but they are not forming the orthonormality property, it is not equal to delta ij. Using the Gram-Schmidt orthonormalization process, I figure out two vectors y1 which is 1 0 and y2 which is 0 1, which is the natural basis in 2D. Now, yi, yj are forming delta ij. So, using these two vector by using Gram-Schmidt I can. So, this is a 2D example, you can do that for 3D, 4D. 4D will be more complicated, 5D will be more complicated. So, you can deal with the 3D quite nicely, 2D it will be more easier, but in general this is the formulation. So, next class, so let me conclude in this class what I am doing here. So, two important things we learned here. First, how to find out a set of orthonormal bases when a set of linearly independent vector is given. So, this is given, from that I always can form a basis which is orthogonal to each other, not only orthogonal but orthonormal to each other. And secondly, I use this inner product concept. So, the basis which is forming delta ij is orthonormal, and in order to do that I use one definition here, one different notation here. This in the next class I will going to explain what is the meaning of that, what is the physical meaning of that. So, with that let me conclude today's class. So, see you in the next class where I will discuss these things once again. Thank you.